why SIAM, how SIAM came into the picture. Let us understand why SIAM via a role of IT maturity against any of the organization who is driven by so many years, assuming timeline. So think about traditional environment in early 90s, almost 30 years back. In any customer organization who is into manufacturing or any services, they used to have a in-house IT management, or we call it, they used to manage their own IT. However, someday, if they find some peculiar or complex issue, they have to run to someone who knows this product, or maybe the required skilled or rather skillful person. And when they reach out to them, of course, there is a transaction-based charges which is applied to this customer organization. The examples like probably hardware failures, maybe the product issue. So what happens is they fix the particular issue and they charge accordingly. So I call them the transactional agreement, and it's like we call them inflexible contracts. So these inflexible contracts are mostly driven by this technology provider or technology company, because they have a skill. However, this in-house IT organizations who are working with customer closely, they have a limited specialized skill. Let's move forward. In early 2000, so consider almost 20 years back, when customer has started learning that instead of paying more money and having a contract which is transaction based, let's have a single supplier, and he or she would be resolving all our issues. And that's where, single supplier organization or single supplier IT based issue resolution kind of a contracts come into the picture. In such cases, what happens is, you can assume that these contracts are really expensive because it's a single contract and kind of a dedicated contract. However, the contracts are not written very strongly, like scope, out of the scope, explicitly documentation was not there. So what used to happen is, we as a customer organization face some issue, you go back to the service provider, they say that, oh, this is a network issue, we can't do anything about it, or probably this is the issue of a internal IT who is managing your IT, because end user actually raised the issue, or maybe customer or a business who raised the issue, and they try to kind of blame this. So the blame game has been actually increased in this kind of a contract. So this has also not worked for a longer time. In almost 10 years of time, I would say how the IT's role got matured, and IT organization who are actually providing the services, and the customer organization who are taking services from IT organization, they have started establishing contractual and commercial teams. And they realize that for every services, let's have a dedicated contract. So for a application, let's have a separate contract. For infrastructure, let's have a separate contract, like server and infrastructure issues. And let's have a separate contract for network also. So what they've done is from service provider or single service provider, they went to multi-sourcing partnership kind of a contracting. However, in this also, they found some issues like, over a period of time, as we have just passed almost, 20 years, if I say, from 1990 to 2010, the business, the way business is happening or dynamics of the business is also changed. There was or rather, there is a huge amount of competition, which customer was also facing. They have a time to market kind of a pressure. They are also looking at who will be giving me something, on a cheaper raw material, try to produce something on a lower cost and try to sell it something on a higher cost. And the same time, I should get the services of IT cheaper. So when I look at the better, quicker, and cheaper kind of a services, then what happens is there are chances that you might increase your internal cost. And the same time, if the cost is not increased to render any services, what happens is there is a service quality which is eventually consumed by the end user. They face that. I mean, the service quality is deteriorated. And of course, the relationship between this multi-service or rather multi-sourcing environment is also not good because they are independently working, kind of working in silos. So the blame which was given to the single supplier earlier, now it's been shifted to various or rather multi-supplier kind of scenarios. So in this overall landscape, customer also got mature, and at the same time, there is a big amount of learning which IT organization also got it. So IT organization have started proposing based on their previous experience, historical data, and overall richness, what they have got it by providing services to the customer. They become skilled in saying that, I understand your business to customer. I understand your business. So you can actually give me the entire business to, or rather give me entire services to handle it. And definitely, I'll be able to do much better job than the other service providers or multi-service providers are doing it. So kind of, I would say they are trying to influence and slowly influencing these service providers become strategic service providers. And these strategic service providers, when they have started talking to customers, they have actually kind of, over a period of time, they got mature, and that's where SIAM came into the picture. And I would say, when SIAM came into the picture, with alignment to the strategic service supplier, this tactical, operational kind of a distinction, which also started, realized or visible. And customer also started thinking about having a better control in terms of the governance. And since the overall strategic suppliers, or rather SIAM, used to actually started handling this single services or single point of contact. So the various other service provider who have an individual contract with the customers, they realized that they do not have any other mechanisms or escapism than having a trust. So I would say the SIAM actually got mature from strategic service providers to SIAM kind of organizations.